Friends, grab your popcorn, sit back, and let's dive into today's movie journey. The story begins with a voice, telling us about a dangerous monster living far away in the mountains, known as the Mountain King. He is still asleep, but if anyone dares to go near him, they will never return. And if the princess of the Forest Kingdom doesn't get married before she turns 18, the monster will awaken and take her away. The scene then shifts to the kingdom where Princess Christine lived. Her 18th birthday was only a few days away, so the king was searching for a groom for her. That's when Prince Frederick from a nearby kingdom arrives. To impress Christine, he starts telling her made-up stories. The king and others are convinced by his words, but Christine sees through his lies and firmly refuses to marry him. The king begins to force Christine into marriage. Troubled by this, Christine mounts her horse, leaves the palace, and escapes into the forest. When the king arrives at her room, he finds it empty. Shocked and worried, he immediately sets out to search for her. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to a boy named Aspen, who is gathering food in the forest. As he crosses a bridge, Christine arrives there too. They accidentally collide, causing Aspen to fall into the water. Hearing his cry, Christine stops and reaches out her hand to help him, but Aspen playfully pulls her into the water as well. Afterwards, Aspen introduces himself, though Christine shows no interest in him. He then offers her some food, and since she is very hungry, Christine eats everything he has. When she prepares to leave, Aspen asks for her name. Christine replies, "If destiny wants us to meet again, we surely will." After that, she goes deeper into the forest, while Aspen returns home where his brothers, Pierre and Paul, are waiting for him. Soon, their father also arrives and asks where the food is. Aspen begins to tell him everything that happened in the forest, but no one believes his words. Angry, his father says, "You had only one task, and you couldn't even do that properly." Feeling ashamed, Aspen apologizes to him. Later, his father, along with Pierre and Paul, goes to the market to buy some necessary items and tells Aspen to take care of the house. As night falls, Aspen sits near the fire when he suddenly hears frightening noises coming from the forest. Terrified, he grabs his sword and starts practicing with it. But while practicing, he accidentally sets the house on fire. He tries hard to put it out, but the flames spread uncontrollably, burning the entire house to ashes. Meanwhile, on the other side, Christine is wandering through the forest with her horse. Just then, his horse throws him off and runs away into the forest. After that, Christine begins to hear strange and frightening noises in the woods. To escape them, she tries to run out of the forest, but suddenly someone attacks her and kidnaps her. The next day, when Aspen's father and brother return home, they find nothing but ashes. They cannot understand what really happened. Everything they had saved was burned to the ground. Even the only photograph of Aspen's mother, which his father had kept safe for so many years, was destroyed in the fire. Scared, Aspen finally tells his father that he saw a monster and that it was the reason behind everything. But when his father looks at the burnt house and Aspen's innocent face, his anger softens. He realizes they now have nothing left to lose. Just then, Frederick arrives with some soldiers, searching for Christine. He asks Aspen's father, "Did you see the princess come this way?" But both Aspen's father and brother deny it. But just then, Frederick noticed Aspen. Seeing the nervous look on his face, Frederick began to suspect him. He asked directly, "Where is the girl?" Out of fear, Aspen couldn't say a word. Watching this, Frederick threatened him with his sword. At that moment, Aspen's father stepped in and said, "He's a little crazy. He keeps seeing monsters everywhere, and he's always afraid of them." Hearing this, Frederick laughed. Then, with greed in his voice, he said, "Whoever helps me find the princess will be greatly rewarded, and the one who brings her to me will be made the king of this land." After saying this, Frederick left with his soldiers. Once Frederick was gone, Aspen's father turned to Pierre and Paul and said, "We must find the princess. If we get the reward, we can rebuild our home." Pierre and Paul, you two go search for her. Hearing this, Aspen asked, "Then what should I do?" When his father tells him, "You can go wherever you want, but never come back here again." Aspen feels heartbroken and deeply hurt. A little later, he quietly follows his brothers, because he also wants to find the princess. As he moves deeper into the forest, Aspen finds a broken mirror on the ground. He picks it up and keeps it with him, thinking it might be useful. After walking some distance, he hears a woman's voice calling for help. Aspen wants to help, but Pier tells him not to waste time, since their real task is to find the princess. Still, Aspen leaves his brothers and goes toward the voice. After a while, he sees an old woman who looked like a witch, stuck in a log with her nose caught in it. Aspen goes to her and removes the wood, freeing her. The woman looks at him and asks, "Who are you? And what are you doing here in the forest?" He explains that he has come to find the princess. But the witch hears his voice and says that the princess must have been taken away by the monster. Hearing this, Aspen becomes worried. Then the witch tells him that the only way to save the princess is to defeat the monster, and for that, he will need a magical sword hidden beneath the pond. Aspen asks how he can get the sword. In reply, the witch gives him a magical map that can reveal the path to anywhere in the world. But when Aspen opens the map, it appears completely blank. The witch then explains that he must plead with the map, and only then will it show him the right way. After saying this, the witch walks deeper into the forest, while Aspen sets off with the map. As he continues his journey, he reaches a place where he finds Christine's jewelry. At that moment, he notices a huge claw mark on the ground where he is standing. The scene then shifts back to the king. He was very sad because his daughter had gone missing. Just then, his manager came to meet him and told him that they had found the bones of the horse which the princess had taken with her. Along with that, they also discovered a very large tooth, which convinced the king that the story about the Mountain King was true, and now his daughter was in great danger. The scene then shifts to Christine. When she wakes up, she finds herself inside a cave. She tries to escape from there, but suddenly a huge hand reaches into the cave and gives her some meat to eat. Seeing this frightens Christine, but she still gathers courage, picks up the food, and eats it. Meanwhile, the two brothers continue their journey and come across a basket filled with golden apples. Because they were hungry, they eat the apples and find them very tasty. Just then, some girls appear and tempt them with more food, leading them into a cave where they are given plenty to eat. The girls talk to him and offer him apples to eat. Meanwhile, he keeps moving ahead with the help of the magical map. Walking further, he reaches a place where the path ends, and he doesn't know which way to go. Just then, he sees a golden apple and eats it. The moment he takes a bite, a cave door suddenly appears in front of him. Inside the cave, Aspen finds his brother sitting with the beautiful girls, eating food. One of the girls invites Aspen to join them, but when Aspen looks at the food, he doesn't see a meal. He sees insects. The girls no longer look beautiful to him. Instead, they appear as witches. Realizing this, Aspen panics, knowing that his brother is in danger. Then one girl hands Aspen an apple too, but instead of eating it, he drops it on the ground. As soon as the apple touches the floor, their magic breaks, and suddenly, all the witches start appearing in their real forms to Aspen. Realizing the danger, Aspen quickly goes to his brothers and tells them they must leave for their mission. He tries to convince them to come with him, but one of the witches understands Aspen's plan. She reveals her true form and attacks them. Aspen and his brothers run away as fast as they can and somehow manage to escape from the cave. But as soon as they step outside, the cave door shuts on its own. Outside the cave, Aspen tells his brothers that just like the witches were real, the demon is also real. After witnessing everything, both Pier and Pal also begin to believe in the demon's existence. The three brothers then continue their journey and eventually arrive near a hotel. They were very hungry, and Pal couldn't control his hunger anymore. So Pier convinced them to go inside. Once inside, Pal ordered a lot of food to eat. In the same hotel, Frederick and his companions were also present. Inside, Aspen secretly asked the map where the magical sword was hidden. The map showed him a path leading to another part of the hotel. Just then, one of Frederick's men informed him about Aspen. After this, Frederick went up to Aspen and asked, "Have you found anything about the princess or that magical map? If you tell me, I'll pay you." Hearing this, Pierre signaled Aspen to reveal everything so they could get the money. But Aspen firmly replied, "You don't truly love the princess. You only want her kingdom. That's why I will neither give you this map nor share any secret with you." Angered by his words, Frederick tried to attack Aspen. But Aspen quickly grabbed some food from the table and threw it at Frederick's face. In the fight that followed, Pierre and Paul also joined in to support Aspen. Even so, Frederick proved stronger and knocked Aspen to the ground. But then, in the middle of the fight, Frederick's foot suddenly steps on another guy's food. Angered, he grabbed Frederick and threw him away. Taking advantage of the situation, Aspen and his brothers quickly ran away. However, Frederick kept chasing them. As they ran, the three of them reached the edge of a gorge with a waterfall. Frederick arrived there as well. Using his cleverness, Aspen saved the map and jumped into the waterfall with his brothers. After emerging from the water, Pierre became very angry and said to Aspen, "All of this happened because of you. I wish you were never part of our family." Hearing this, a fight broke out between them. Pal intervened, saying, "This is not the time to fight." But still furious, Pierre snatched the map from Aspen and said, "I will lead the way from now on." The three of them continued their journey. On the way, Aspen found a bear skin, which he picked up and kept with him. After this, the scene shifted to Christine. She was making a plan. Just then, when the demon tried to touch her, she immediately stabbed his hand with a knife. The demon became furious, picked her up, and threw her back into the cave. Meanwhile, Aspen was moving forward, following the map. Along the way, they reached a place covered in thick fog. The fog was so dense that nothing could be seen, and because of this, Aspen got separated from his brothers. However, Pierce and Paul managed to reach Frederick. There, Frederick asked them, "Where is Aspen?" Pierce and Paul lied, saying that Aspen had died, but Frederick didn't believe them. He knew that Aspen had the magical map. On the other hand, Aspen made his way through the dense fog and finally arrived at the pond that the map had indicated. Without fear, he stepped into the cold river. But Aspen wasn't alone in the pond. Some crocodiles appear in the water behind Aspen and attack him. But Aspen kills them with his sword and escapes from the area. As he moves forward, he sees his brother, who was imprisoned along with Frederick and his companions. Frederick now has the magical map he took from Pierre, while Aspen watches everything secretly. Suddenly, Aspen remembers the bear skin and comes up with a plan. He puts on the skin and approaches them, trying to make a monstrous voice to scare everyone. However, because he cannot see properly inside the skin, he trips and falls while walking. As he falls, the skin comes off, revealing that it is Aspen. Seeing this, Frederick angrily grabs him. Now, Frederick has the magical map and uses it to find the way to the monster's cave. The map shows the path and Frederick prepares to go there. But Aspen asks Frederick, "What will you do with the princess?" Frederick replies, "I only want her kingdom. After the wedding, I will kill her." Hearing this, Aspen is shocked. Then Frederick, along with Aspen and his brothers, moves toward the demon. On the way, they stop to eat, and suddenly, they hear the demon's terrifying roar from a distance. Scared by the sound, Frederick and his companions start running away. Aspen and his brothers are also frightened by the roar, but using a stone, they manage to cut their ropes and free themselves. At the same time, the demon reaches the spot where Frederick's companions were running. The demon is huge and dangerous. It grabs one of Frederick's companions and devours him. Frederick climbs a large tree with another companion. When the demon approaches the tree, Frederick, to save himself, pushes his companion down so the demon will eat him, allowing Frederick to escape. But the demon sees through his trick. Frederick was sitting on a tree and started shaking it loudly. Frightened by the movement, he tried to climb higher, but the monster grabbed him. After that, the monster reached the small cave where Aspen and his brother were hiding. The monster picked up Pal and carried him away. Seeing this, Frederick began to cry, feeling that it was all his fault. If he hadn't separated from his brothers or hadn't done what the monster wanted earlier, none of this would have happened. Just then, Pierce, who was a bit wiser, held him and said that now was not the time to cry. They needed to work together to save Pal. Hearing this, both brothers decided to fight the monster to rescue Pal. Meanwhile, the monster had reached his cave with Frederick and Pal. Inside, the cave was pitch dark, and Frederick was very scared. It was there that he met Christine. Seeing her, Frederick tried to find a chance to act. He lies to Christine, saying, "I'm here to save you." But Paul, who had learned to tell truth from lies because of Aspen, reveals Frederick's secret. Paul tells the princess, "He is lying. He doesn't want to save you. He wants to marry you and then kill you so he can take over your kingdom." Hearing this, Christine becomes very angry. Without thinking, she strikes Frederick on the head with a bone and knocks him unconscious. After that, Christine asks Paul, "Who are you?" Paul replies, "I am Aspen's brother." Hearing this, Christine remembers Aspen and becomes happy. She asks Paul, "Will Aspen come to save us?" Paul says, "Yes, he will definitely come." Meanwhile, Aspen and his brother prepare to enter the demon's cave. Aspen picks up a glass jar and fills it with fireflies. The light from the fireflies makes the jar glow like a torch. Guided by this light, the two brothers reach the inside of the demon's cave. But the cave was very large, with many paths. So, using the light of the firefly, they chose one path and began moving forward. To avoid getting lost, they tied a thread to a rock and started going inside. Suddenly, Aspen slipped and was about to fall into a pit, but he grabbed his magical sword. Peeking down, he saw that the pit was very deep. At the bottom, he could see Paul and Christine. Aspen and Pierre were very happy to see them. Aspen called out to Pierre from below, and Pierre immediately pulled him up. Then, using a rope, Aspen's sword, and other tools, they managed to lift Paul and Christine up as well. Now, they had to get out of the demon's cave. But the only way out was the same path the demon used. The demon was sleeping right there on that path, and to escape, they had to go over its tail. After that, the four of them, they all slowly and quietly tried to move past the monster. At that moment, everyone was very scared, but they still gathered their courage and moved forward. Now it was Frederick's turn. Nervously, he started to step over the monster's tail, but accidentally bumped into it. This woke the monster, and it began chasing them. They all ran toward the top of the cave where the exit was. Meanwhile, Frederick slipped and fell down, while Aspen and the others reached the mountain path safely. The monster struggled to climb the mountain but still tried to follow. Aspen then drew his magical sword and tried to fight it. The monster was huge and very powerful. Aspen struck its leg, wounding it, but in anger, the monster turned and attacked Aspen, causing his sword to slip from his hand and fall down the mountain. Now they had no weapons left to fight the monster. Terrified, Christine starts throwing stones at the demon, but they have no effect. The demon then moves toward them, as if ready to devour them, and it seems there is no hope left to escape. Suddenly, the demon attacks Pierre, knocking him unconscious. Christine and Paul rush to help him. At that moment, Aspen remembers what the witch had said, that the demon would turn to stone in sunlight. The first rays of the sun were about to appear, so Aspen quickly grabs a broken mirror and positions it to reflect the sunlight directly onto the demon. As soon as the sunlight hits the demon, it screams loudly and soon turns into stone. Christine then pushes it, causing it to fall to the ground and shatter. Meanwhile, Frederick somehow escapes from the mountain and heads toward the forest. There, he encounters the witch and asks her the way to the princess's kingdom. The witch smiles when she sees Frederick and deliberately directs him down the wrong path. That path leads him straight to the cave where the witch gives him a golden apple and takes control over him. The next day, the others safely reach the palace. The king is overjoyed to see his daughter and thanks them for saving the princess. He promises them a reward, but they accept the money only to repair their home. After that, Kristen and Espen smile at each other and return home with the reward. When they reach home, they find their father waiting for them. He is overjoyed to see his children alive and even apologizes to Espen. Espen gives him the reward money, and seeing so much money makes their father happy as well. Sometime later, Kristen comes to meet Espen. They look at each other for a moment and then ride their horses out into the forest for a leisurely ride. Today's story ends here, but the journey never stops. Keep your popcorn ready, because the next story is just around the corner. Until then, stay curious and keep enjoying the adventure.